showing all the stuff I got from August through October. I got a lot of stuff. I was going through it. I can't believe all the stuff I got. This might be the most fruitful. Just got so much good stuff from August through October, and I guess I'll just start showing it. So early in August, I went to Seattle. Took a little kind of spur of the moment, last minute. Just I don't know. Just decided to go to Seattle because I hadn't been there in a long time. About 7 hours from where I live. And I wanted to check out the record stores up there, amongst many other things. But there weren't. I have to say, I was not that impressed with the stores I went to. I mean, they were good and they had some good stuff, but they had a lot of good like new stuff. Like if you want to get new stuff, it's big cities like that are good. But as far as like the used stuff that I'm really into, um, not a lot of not a lot of great pickups compared to what I can find in like small to medium sized towns. And I don't know if they just like get bought up right away in the morning or what, but anyway, I only bought two things up in Seattle. I bought this Molchat Doma album. They're like a Russian kind of post punk goth band from the mid 2010s, and I don't even never heard this whole album, but I like some of the tracks on it. I'd never seen it on vinyl, so I'm like, I couldn't find anything else there, so I was like, might as well grab that just to grab something. It's got it's called Coke Bottle Clear vinyl, kind of greenish, light see-through green kind of color on the vinyl itself. And I got this Jimi Hendrix Electric Ladyland. It's like a late 70s press, but I really rarely see it with no ring wear, so that was one of the reasons I picked that up. Anyway, that was all I got in Seattle. But back in Bend, where I live, I got this Yardbirds album, Having a Rave Up. This is an original. Cover is in incredibly good condition for a 60s album. And the vinyl has a few marks on it, but it plays really good. This is just a really exciting, really fun album. I've owned it before, but the copies I've owned in the past are kind of scratched up. This one is a lot nicer than those. Then I hit up a yard sale in early August, and I got like 5 or 6 albums there for $1. And this was probably the most valuable one, Eddie Costa. I believe it's an original or like a vintage press. He's a jazz guy. And I got this Elvis album for LP fans only. Pretty good condition, original. About like those were the two best I got there. I'm not showing everything I got in August to October. I got to limit this video a little bit. And this next find was one of. I got a lot of great finds, but as far as like value deal, this was one of the best ones. This is an original copy of Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On." One of those albums that almost everyone's going to want to own in their collection. And I had a copy of this, but it was not in. It was in okay shape, like VG, strong VG. This is like a mint copy. Like looks brand new. The disc itself is like really clean. Cover is really clean. It looks like it could have been like pulled out of the shrink wrap, as a brand new album. And it was only $20. And if you look up what those sell for on Discogs for one of those in that condition, it's a lot more than $20. So really happy to pick that one up. Got this Neil Young, After the Gold Rush. I already own this album, but this is like a European press of some kind. German press, I believe. I'm getting some shine on these records. I'm going to pull some of them out just to make them easier to see. But I like this because I like the cover. It's more glossy, whereas the American version is kind of drab looking by comparison with the matte finish. And it's always kind of fun to get European and, pressings that are not from the U.S. when you live in the U.S. I've got a couple of Bowie albums. Got Hunky Dory and Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust. I already own these albums, but these were originals. The ones I had were like 75, and these are the originals. With Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust, I actually replaced it with my old cover, but the disc, because the disc was about equally clean, but it's an original, so I'd rather have the first press. And this was just the one I bought, full stop, with the really nice cover and original disc. I think it's okay to replace covers. I don't know how other people feel about this. I like to swap covers and stuff like that. And I feel like if the covers are exactly the same, like, nothing can be different. Not even like, the address can't be different. There can't be like a little, picture or marking that's a little different. If it's exactly the same and it's released within 5 years or so, I think you can swap the cover out for a better cover. So those I got at this vinyl marketplace here in Bend, Oregon. Also got this there. This is a Leonard Cohen recent songs, which I've owned in the past, and I like this album, but I've always sold it because it just seemed like it was never in great condition. The ones I own, and it's just not a super special album that I need to own on vinyl, but it is I do like all the songs on it, and this is special though because it's a white label promo. So always happy to find white label promos of albums that I like. Led Zeppelin In Through the Outdoor. This is another one that I've had in the past and sold. Never owned it with the paper bag though, so that's pretty cool. Usually it has the, just the regular album, and the paper bag's not included. Also got this Count 5 Psychotic Reaction original copy in the shrink wrap there still, which is pretty cool. There's the label. Disc isn't perfect, but it's playable, good enough, strong VG, low VG plus. Couldn't turn that down when you see something like that in person. Alright, this is one that everyone knows, of course, Dark Side of the Moon. I don't know if this is an original, but it's definitely a 70s press. And I bought this because it was really, really nice condition. Cover's almost perfect, got a tiny, tiny bit of ring wear you probably can't even see on camera. And the disc is mint, perfect mint. And I had a copy before that had the poster and the postcards in it, or both posters actually, and the postcards. This copy that I bought did not have those, but it was really nice condition, so I took the poster and postcards from my old copy, put it in this one, because this one's much nicer condition-wise, so now I got a pretty nice complete set of Dark Side of the Moon there. Psycho Candy by Jesus and Mary Chain. This was great, kind of post-punk shoegaze, Beach Boys music with distortion added to it, kind of is the way to describe it. But I had a European press of this, but the cover was kind of water damaged. This is a US press, first pressing. Not like a full-blown promo, but it does have a gold stamp promo on the front, which is kind of cool too. The disc is really nice mint condition, so happy to find that one. Got Dolly Parton original press of My Tennessee Mountain Home. It's that orange label, same as the Bowie RCA orange there. This is a newer album. This is Caroline Polachek. This album is called, I forget the name of the album now. Pang is the name of the album. But a couple songs I really like on this one. I haven't listened to the whole album yet, but the gold vinyl version, which it actually sells for more than I bought it for, so I couldn't turn it down, and I had some extra money at that, this was still at that same vinyl marketplace. It was just a marketplace, but a couple of the vendors were selling vinyl there. So that was all the things I got at that marketplace there. And then this is really exciting. Doors Strange Days. This is the original mono press. And disc is really nice, probably VG plus. Covers in the shrink. Actually, the original, when I first bought this, I bought it at a record store here. Had a nice disc, but the cover was not great. Had a lot of wear on it. And so I ordered a version online with this nice cover in the shrink, original shrink from the 60s. But the disc itself on that one was not that great, so I swapped them out. So now I got a really nice original Strange Days mono, which is mono sounds a lot better than the stereo, supposedly, and it does sound really good. And they're more valuable as well, so really happy to own that one. Really stoked about that. Less stoked about this, but still, for my Bob Dylan collection, I got this copy of Empire Burlesque in the shrink. Bob Dylan is one of the artists that I even collect the not-so-great albums from. Been wanting this for a while. This is Funkadelic Cosmic Slop. This is an original with that original Westbound label there. But been wanting that one for a while. Now I got most of the Funkadelic albums and vintage 70s copies of those, except for the second album, I believe. And I don't think I have One Nation Under a Groove either, but not my favorite album there. This I kind of picked up because it was only $10, black market Clash. I guess it has a slight warp to it, but couldn't turn it down for cheap like that. Yeah. This is the Beatles' Hard Day's Night soundtrack. This is an original and really nice condition in the shrink still with a price tag. Disc is like mint condition. All right, we got Sparks here. So these next few albums I bought at a house sale. This person has sells records out of their house, and like every couple months they open it to the public. A lot of them are kind of beat up and overpriced, but if you dig through, you can find some good deals. And this is an original copy of Woofer and Tweeter's Clothing by Sparks. Also picked up another Marvin Gaye album. This is Midnight Love. It's an 80s album in the shrink with the hype sticker. This is the album that has Sexual Healing on it, as you can see there. And I've always thought it was a good song, and it's not that it's a bad song, but I listened to it and it is really overproduced. I forgot how 80s sounding that song was. I always thought it was more of like a soul 70s kind of song, but well, still a cool thing to have there. This is Public Image Limited, Johnny Rotten's band after he left the Sex Pistols. I didn't have any of their stuff, so at that house sale, decided to pick this one up. This is their second album. And also picked this up. I have not heard this album, but it was only $10. A later album by Public Image Limited in the shrink with the hype sticker, and it's got a pretty cool cover. So that was everything I got at that house sale. Ordered this online. This is my favorite bluegrass band, New Lost City Ramblers. They were a bluegrass band from the late 50s, early 60s. And the shrink on it does have the shrink on it. It's a little bit wrinkly and not on perfectly, but I kept it on because it's got this vintage price tag there. And this also came with the booklet. But this is volume 4. I have all the volumes, and this is my favorite volume, and the one I had was really bad condition with like a cover. It was all torn up and with seam splits and everything. So I thought I'd buy a nicer copy of that. So this is very cool. At Smith Rock Records here in Bend, I was looking through the bins and I came across this Roxy Music album, and it was in such nice condition that I kind of thought it had to be a modern reissue. So I didn't really look at it that close at first, but I looked at it closer, and I realized it's actually a vintage copy in the shrink with this hype sticker. Just a really nice condition copy with, never seen that before. Hard for me to turn down, shrink with hype sticker stuff from vintage albums like that, especially from bands I like Roxy Music. That's a really good album. Got a lot of great songs on it too. All right, so more Sparks albums. This is there was another Marketplace. That same Marketplace happened a month later, and this is another Sparks album I got there called Propaganda. Haven't listened to Propaganda yet, but been trying to collect Sparks albums because I like a lot of the stuff I've heard from them. I did not have any Sonic Youth albums, so couldn't turn this down. This is an original copy of Sister by Sonic Youth. I believe one of these pictures is not on later pressings. It's either this Disney picture or that woman there, but either way, pretty cool. I don't think I would have bought a reissue of this because I'm not a huge Sonic Youth fan, but original copies like that, couldn't turn it down. This is one I already had, Meet the Residents. I had a really modern reissue. This is an 80s reissue, so I kind of, I feel like the older the better when you're getting stuff like this, so I'm going to sell my modern issue and keep this 80s reissue. The originals are like $500 or something, so I'm not too interested in that unless I get lucky and just find one for cheap. This is Pavement, Watery Domestic. And if you're a classic rock fanatic, you might recognize this cover. They appropriated the album cover from Amber Gris. They just kind of graffitied over it. But this is an excellent EP from Pavement. It's got the track Frontwards, which is one of their best songs. And now I have every Pavement album in pretty much original copies. There's another one I got, which I'll show later. All right, keeping up with the great albums here. This is Abbey Road, which everyone knows. This is a vintage UK copy. I don't think it's an original. I think it's like an early 70s, like a 70 or 71, from what I could tell, but apparently it uses the same metalwork, same stampers as the original, and got this surprisingly cheap. Smith Rock Records in Bend here had a bunch of just great UK vintage UK copies of stuff, so that was the first one of that I'll show. Also picked up this 70s UK copy of Beggar's Banquet by the Rolling Stones. This is now the third Stones album I got. Sorry, it's the third copy of Beggar's Banquet I have. I have a Japanese press from the 80s and an original US press. So I don't always like to collect multiple copies of the same album, but that's one where it's like, I don't know which one of those I would sell because they're all so cool in their own way. Continuing with the Rolling Stones UK presses, this is Satanic Majesty's Request, and it's not the lenticular hologram version, but I have that with a US press, so it's kind of cool to have both covers. And it's got the Decca label, which Decca was the company that put out the Rolling Stones albums, back in the 60s and 70s. I'll show the Decca label here on Beggar's Banquet as well. This is a blue one, this is a green one, which is pretty cool. And went to Smith Rock Records a little, like a week later, and was searching just through the regular bins and found these Queen albums, which I'm not even a huge Queen fan, but I could not turn these down. I thought this was so cool. I got vintage UK copies of Queen 2, Sheer Heart Attack. These are both first presses of those. And this is not a first press, but an early press of Jazz as well. So, yeah, they were good deals too. I got all three of them for under $60 total or something like that. They were between $15 and $30 each. So could not turn that down. This is Nobuyasu Okobayashi, I think is his name, a Japanese artist. Sounds exactly like a Japanese version of Bob Dylan. I ordered this online, pretty cheap. It was under $20, and I heard a couple of his tracks and really enjoyed the novelty of hearing Bob Dylan's style in Japanese, and found a copy with the Obi strip, and thought it'd be a fun thing to own. All right, Buzzcocks, Singles Going Steady. This is an original press of this. I owned a modern reissue, but always wanted to get an original. And this is the Porky's Prime cut, which it says in the dead wax. Can't read it, obviously, but apparently the Porky's Prime cut sounds a lot better than the later reissues, and it does sound really good, so I'll take people's word for that. All right, this is Led Zeppelin 2, and it is an RL. If you know anything about Zeppelin and RL, these are the pressings to find. This is actually my fourth RL I've found. I'll briefly talk about what that means. So when they first issued this album on vinyl, it was cut really hot, really loud, and just really great sounding. And it was so loud and so intense that it was skipping on a lot of cheap turntables. So they recalled it and they kind of dulled the sound down for the main release. But a lot of these still got out. You can find them if you look for them. Like most copies, this one's got a lot of scratches on it. They're almost always G plus to VG, low VG. But they still sound really good even in that condition. So this is a Monarch pressing. Probably my second best one I've found, but I got this for only $15 because a lot of people don't know about them, but they sell for quite a bit more than that online. All four I found I've got for $20 or less. All right, Pavement again. This is an original copy of Terror Twilight, so that completes my Pavement vinyl collection. This is an interesting album for fans of outsider music and kind of poorly played music, which I am. This is The Gods with Contact High with the Gods. Really amateurish sounding album from the 60s, but it's so amateurish it's kind of a fun novelty and kind of enjoyable in its own creative way. I used to own this and I sold it, and I've always kind of regretted selling it, so I got another copy on Discogs. Alright, so I visited my parents out in Gold Beach, Oregon, and my dad gave me a bunch of his records. He's keeping some of them, but he just wanted to thin out his collection a little bit, so he gave me a bunch of them, and he told me I could sell them or whatever, and I'm going to sell most of them, but there's a couple in there I wanted to keep. So I'll show the couple I want to keep. This is the Ohio Players with Honey. It's got Love Roller Coaster on it, And there's a lot of there's the whole urban legend with the supposedly a woman was killed in the. I mean, it's not actually true, but there's the urban legend about the Scream and Love Roller Coaster being the sound of woman being killed in the studio, and some people say it's the actual model on the cover. Kind of disturbing, but also fun bit of urban legend history. Then I have The Birds with Fifth Dimension. It's just a really nice copy of that. The disc is really clean. Original 2i label there. This is an original copy of Rolling Stones, England's newest hitmakers, which I got in Grants Pass at Time Machine Records. If you ever go through Grants Pass, definitely check out Time Machine. Great store. Owner Jesse's a really good guy too. But yeah, you don't see these in very good condition very often, so couldn't turn that down. Got a lot of Stones this last few months, as you can tell. Another store to check out in Southern Oregon is Biscuits and Vinyl. Got this Bob Dylan Before the Flood white label promo there. And since I'm a huge Dylan collector, couldn't turn that down. Sometimes you just see stuff you're not going to see again for a while, and you can't turn it down. Same store, same visit. I got these Cramps albums just in time for Halloween. Psychedelic Jungle and Songs the Lord Taught Us. These are not first pressings, but they are, I think, second pressings from the early 80s. Then in Ashland, there's a new store downtown. Can't remember the name of it, unfortunately, but if you live in Ashland, it is right across from Shakespeare Festival, kind of right by Three Penny Mercantile. This is Funkadelic with, how do you pronounce this? I don't even know how you pronounce it. I'll just put the lettering up there. Funk something. But good album, and I didn't have any Parliament albums. Got a lot of Funkadelic albums, obviously, like I showed before, but this is in the shrink with the hype sticker, and it did not have the poster that came with it, or the comic book, so I ordered a cheap version online that was kind of beat up, but had the stuff in it, so I got a complete set of that. Another Parliament album I got in Ashland, Motor Booty Affair. Original press on that as well. Back in Grants Pass, they put out some more UK stuff. So I got some more Rolling Stones UK stuff. This is Through the Past Darkly. Got some Spine Damage, but it's a UK press, couldn't turn it down. Decca label there. Also an original UK press of Goat's Head Soup. And then in Bend also at Vinyl Stop, picked up this 70s press of Help by the Beatles, Japanese press with the Obi strip. Always fun to get those. Here's an album. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. My favorite country album of all time. The Flying Burrito Brothers, Gilded Palace of Sin. And this is an original Monarch press. And Monarch actually means something on these. They sound quite a bit better than the other pressings of the album. But I already own two of these albums, two of these originals. One was a Monarch press in not so great shape. I mean, it was decent, but it was like, not that great. And then I had a nice copy from another pressing plant. So I ordered a nice Monarch copy. Now I can sell the other two and probably sell them for more than I paid for this one. So sometimes it's just, smart to do that. Didn't have any Bob Marley in my collection, so couldn't turn this down. It was like $10, $15. It's like 80s press of Natty Dread on the Island label there. Did not have Bruce Springsteen Born to Run. For some reason, I just have trouble finding the originals. Whenever I see it, it's like the reissue with the barcode, and kind of wanted an original copy of that. It's $10, picked that up. I got this earlier, but I thought I'd show the Springsteens together. This is just a nice copy of The River. Usually their cover's a little more torn up or more creased up normally, and that was a pretty nice copy. Wow, I got a lot of Rolling Stones just last couple months. This is a original or maybe second year copy of December's Children. Again, you just don't see these vintage old Stones albums in nice condition very often. And last but not least, this is probably the most valuable one I got. I went down to Grants Pass again because I went to Time Machine because he's got a guy there that works on stereos and stuff, and my tube amp receiver, which I'll actually show right here, right there. It's a vintage tube amp from the 60s, and it was having some issues with the stereo. It like wouldn't always play out of one speaker, so I tried to fix it myself, and I got into it, and after I tried to fix it, it stopped working completely. So I know I'm not a dude to fix things like that, I guess. But I took it down to Time Machine and got it fixed there because there's a guy there that works on them, and got a really good deal on that. And so while I was down there, I got that Stones album, and also picked up this David Bowie first album, original copy on Darum there. And it's like strong VG, low VG plus copy. But I figured I'd never see this one again. Or if I did see it, I probably wouldn't want to buy it. I'd save money. I spent a lot less fixing the stereo, and I decided to just like drive back the same day and not stay overnight. So I saved some money that way as well. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna buy this because I'll never, probably never buy it again. Pretty rare. Even the U.S. copies of this are a couple $100 normally, and I spent a little less than that on this. Got a pretty good deal. All right, that is it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you're having a good day, and I'll talk to you next time.